the spaces in between.
I was the guy that would wear my Nike sneakers until the sole separated from the rest of the shoe, and that was something I took pride in. I was a college student, 19 years old, at a small school in Central Ohio. A dedicated student, an athlete, a gym rat, lifting weights until exhaustion, a runner, sprinting the final mile every time I went out, and of course, a fair bit of partying. So much of my identity at this time in my life was tied up in physical strength and grit and toughness and competition and physical ability. And I was invincible, at least I thought, until my body and my mind started breaking down on me. In a span of 4 months, I lost my shoulder to a partial labral tear playing rugby. I suffered plantar fasciitis in my feet, and I injured my sternum when landing on my neck in a ski crash. And just like that, all of the activities, all of the pastimes, and the things that used to bring me comfort and joy and social connection and fulfill my identity and sense of self, those things brought me discomfort and pain, and I did not know what to make of it. Of course, my friends did not understand. These are peer 19-year-olds, and I fielded a lot of comments about being a 65-year-old man in a 19-year-old's body, and a lot of old man jokes in general, which at first they were maybe a little funny, and they're all in good fun until it started to weigh on me. Am I crazy? Why do I feel this way? Are they right? Should I just stop trying to heal? I found myself constantly explaining to them what I was feeling, what these injuries even were. And sometimes I wished I just had a sling or a cast or a boot, some way of just showing people immediately, even strangers, this person is hurt, this person is trying to recover. But instead, my suffering was invisible. I felt alone and without optimism. And without optimism, healing would not come. I constantly justified to my friends why I was doing the healthy thing, why I was leaving the party early or skipping the party entirely. Why am I waking up early in the morning and going to bed early? Why am I doing 45 minutes of physical therapy every day? So many of these things were just trying to feel okay and not feel so lost. And during that same school year, during the annual school-sanctioned concert down in the basketball gym, where they bring in some washed-up rapper to play a 40-minute set, and it's a bunch of drunk kids, 2,000 drunk kids just standing by the stage waiting for the headliner. I was right there with them, waiting, and my feet were killing me. And so after some period of time waiting, I decided, you know what, I can't do this anymore, and I slipped away. I looked for somewhere that I could hide, and I saw one of those tall curtains that you see in a basketball gym, and I went around the curtain and I sat down and started stretching my hamstrings and my calves, just trying to bring relief to the pain in my feet. A school administrator that I knew walked over to me and said, "Hey, Jack, how's it going? Is everything okay?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm fine. Just stretching out. My legs are a little tight." That part was true. I was just trying to stretch my legs. But in reality, I realized I was being dishonest to both myself and to him because I really was not okay. That was a moment my behavior would have been considered absurd to me just a few months earlier. Slipping away from the pack to hide behind a curtain and sit on the ground and stretch, and I'm 19 years old. And in the weeks and months to follow, I would reflect on this moment as the time when I really started being honest with myself and realizing things have really changed. A couple months later, I was back home in New Hampshire hosting a party. Similarly, I didn't have the energy to really be around either. I was tired of the jabs, the comments, the remarks from my friends. Even the hometown friends treated me the same way. And so I slipped away from the party, found myself in the backyard, went out to my car where it was parked. I got behind the wheel and just sat there. I was seething. I was so angry. I was fuming, and I was on the verge of tears. So many emotions, and I felt so confused. And then after some time, maybe 30 minutes, one of my good friends came out and found me in the car, opened the door, sat there, closed the door, looked at me and said, "Hey, are you okay? Is everything all right?" You don't hear that question from your peers when you're a 19-year-old male, at least not where I'm from. And I could tell that he really wanted to know, so I told him. I told him what I had been going through, all the things I'd been feeling, how confused and lost, and how I was doubting myself. And he listened and he empathized. And then surprisingly, he opened up about his personal struggle, something that as one of his good friends, I had no idea about myself. And I tried to do the same for him. I listened and I empathized with him. The two of us connected right then. And that's when I realized the importance of having one or two or maybe three good, close friends that have your back and are going to support you when life throws you a curveball. And also the importance of forgetting all the other people who really don't care much for you. And just like that, I felt wind in my sails. I had someone in my corner. And when I showed up back to school that coming fall, I made a change. First of all, I believed in what I was doing. I believed in the physical therapy, the health choices I was making to try to improve and recover my injuries. I stopped drinking for a couple months. I stopped going to parties. I started going to bed early, waking up early. And again, most importantly, I believed. And I had optimism. And with optimism came recovery. Just a few short months later, my body was back to where it was before and perhaps better than ever. Because I realized, while I won't have invincibility anymore, I learned the important lesson, perhaps younger than many of my peers, of resilience and how far that can carry you. And I also learned the importance of not only having a good friend, but being one.